It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job. This is episode 94. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yo. Today we have Jed Hirsch with Jed Hirsch General Building Contractors Incorporated, the president of the company. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Thank you.
We've done this before, and we kind of mentioned it prior to the actual call or the actual show, but you are in your vehicle on a job site, it sounds like, of some sort.
It's actually happening on the job.
That's right.
It's happening.
We are on the job. Live on the job.
That is awesome. Well, welcome, Jed. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much. Where are you guys located?
We're in Orange County, California. Yeah.
Orange County.
Yeah. We're about
you guys of course know Mark. You guys know Mark and Brian.
Mark and Brian, 95.5 KLOS.
You bet. Yeah.
We're slightly more popular than Mark and Brian on K-Rock or KLOS.
KLOS, yeah. Classic rock.
Got it. Certainly more funny, I'm sure.
I wish, man. I wish.
Doubtful. We're insurance nerds.
Yeah,
we do this
are.
For fun.
Boring. Well, hey, Jed, thanks for coming on, man, and really appreciate you making the time. Wanted to kind of start out, first question out the chute, and the same question we asked everybody, but really kind of, where did you start in this industry? Were you like 5 years old? I don't know, but how did you get started in the construction space, and how did you get to actually owning and running your own company today?
It's a fantastic question, and also a fantastic guess about the 5-year-old thing. Yes, I wanted to be a carpenter since all I can remember. I was going to be a carpenter.
No kidding.
Given it was, for Christmas presents, I'd get a drill, or my mom would get me a toolbox or a hammer, and it went from there. So yeah, by all means, I was always going to be a carpenter. Being a contractor is a different thing, but let me continue with my carpentry thing. So yeah, built forts in the backyard, North Hollywood. That's not far from where you are, Studio City.
Wait, you had a backyard in North Hollywood?
This was 45 years ago.
I was gonna say he might be dating himself.
Yeah, this is exactly 45 years ago. I moved out of there when I was 18, so that might tell you. I don't know if the math adds up there, but anyways, building forts in the backyard. The building department stopped by a few times to check on what we were building in the backyard. My mom had to tell them it was just a fort, and we had plenty of forts in the backyard, and we kept adding on to them. So they were multi-level. In fact, our best fort started with a hole in the ground, and then of course you throw plywood on top of it, and then dirt on top of that, and you've got a tunnel. And then we built a room above that, and another room above that, and another room above that. So yeah, I was always going to be a carpenter. Luckily, I grew up at a time when woodworking was in schools. So from Walter Reed Junior High in North Hollywood to North Hollywood High in North Hollywood, I had wood shop, and loved skateboards. Yeah, we built killer skateboards, and then I moved.
Did you make some money on the side?
No, not yet. But here, I moved to Salinas, where I took wood shop. I was out of school. I took wood shop Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 11, and Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 11. And then every evening from 7 to 10, I took wood shop at Hartnell Junior College, which had a full-on wood shop. And so by the way, I would go to wood shop from 8 to 11. Then I'd go work at a cabinet shop from 12 to 4, then go back to wood shop from 7 to 10. I loved it. So obviously it was what I was always going to do. Wow. And yeah, I did make money on the side during the junior college years. I did projects for clients. I'd go every semester. You'd start the class. This is at adult education. We'd start the class in the evening, and the teacher would introduce everybody by saying, "When you've got questions, come and ask me. If I don't know the answer, you're going to ask our assistant, Fred over here. And if he doesn't know the answer, you're going to go ask Jed." And so I was in the back of the class, always answering questions, which was okay.
Yeah, because you're always there, right?
Yeah. Loved it. So, of course, I was always going to be a carpenter. Moved to Santa Barbara in 1980 as a carpenter. and I worked as a carpenter for 20 years, so to 2000, and then got my license, and I've had my license since 2000. The difference between carpentry and contractor is, man, I was hands-on. I was so hands-on, loved it. I think I was good at it. Just always thinking about carpentry. And then I became a contractor, lost all my tools. I don't know where my tools are anymore.
Now you got to run a business and babysit and manage and paperwork and
babysit. Yeah, I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You got attorney, babysitter.
Yeah.
Psychologist, therapist,
family counselor.
Yeah, exactly. So so I got my license, and the best advice I ever got was from my dad, who didn't grow up with me. I didn't grow up with him, but he said to me, I said, I don't know if I like being a contractor. He said, well, Jed, you'd like to be a carpenter, right? I said, I love being a carpenter. He said, well, all you got to do is like being a contractor. And it really was that easy to change my mindset.
Change the attitude, change the mindset.
Being a carpenter to being in charge of the operations. And, I still tell everybody what to do and how I think they should do it. And most of the time they agree or they agree or they get fired. It's that easy.
So they always agree.
They agree. In fact, one of my guys is in this job site right here. I just told him how to frame something, and he said, well, there's a lot of ways to do it, Jed.
Yes, we know, but you work for Jed Hirsch General Building Contractors.
Yeah, it's my name. My name on the sign. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you said you were doing you moved to Santa Barbara as a carpenter and worked for different companies, what kind of stuff were you doing? Was it framing or was it finish cabinetry and that kind of stuff, or what kind of stuff were you into?
Great question. I always wanted to be a carpenter. That's framing houses, dog in the truck, standing on the roof with no shirt, banging nails. That was my vision for myself.
Living the dream.
Some people's dream, man. That was my dream. Then when I was in Salinas, I worked for a cabinet shop, and cabinet shops you're banging out the same thing many times. It might differ in certain ways, but
more production than anything. Yeah.
It's productive. Even custom stuff is there's certain systems that you use.
Yep.
So came here to Santa Barbara and started with a partner, a business called Design Builders, and we did it all from start to finish. And basically I was running jobs as the framer and the finish carpenter, and I had 5 guys, and we all knew each other. Wonderful company, Design Builders here in Santa Barbara, and it was the kind of company where we went, we had lunch together. We enjoyed each other's company. We did stuff, went out to dinner every once in a while and really had a good time together. And then you don't know what you have till you start working for another contractor that has a completely different business model.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's based on the employees and their attitudes. Anyway, I went through a couple different things like that, but I was always either lead framer, lead, finish carpenter. And then as you're good, obviously the contractor is going to say, hey, Jed, I want you to go build this deck by yourself. So you go build the deck by yourself. And then the next job comes along and he wants you to, since you're good at what you're doing, they put you in charge.
Right.
And eventually I started my own business in 2000. And like I said, at first I was hands-on, banging hammers and everything. And like I said, eventually you stop using your tools. You got 2 jobs going at once because you want to keep your framers and your finish guys busy. And eventually you're more ordering materials, schmoozing with the clients, reading plans, making sure, and acting as superintendent. And eventually you realize you don't know where your hammer is anymore. That's hard.
Yeah.
Somebody that grows up with their tools and you put everything away in your truck, you know exactly where it is. To go from that to
running a business.
I don't know where my bags are. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. We've got about, we run anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and then plus the office. By the way, I started my business with my ex-wife. We were married at the time in 2000. So we got divorced in 2015, so 5 years ago, and we've been running the business together even since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's the office. She's the office billing, all the paperwork, and I'm the field. So it's a good separation. We were making it work. It worked. to begin with, when we first got divorced, we couldn't afford not to get along.
Right.
So we made it work.
Get expensive. Yeah. Smart.
Find a way to make it work.
Well, it's good that you have the support on that backside so that you can actually be on the job and you can oversee and make the carpenters and the framers do what you want them to do. You know what I mean?
I don't know how anybody else does it. I don't know. I mean,
how they do both. Yeah.
How they do both. Bookkeeping, office work, invoicing is a full-time job.
Yeah.
So for somebody, and you know that carpenters aren't generally mathematicians or they're not book people.
Right.
So carpenters start and they get their license as a contractor, and you better hope you have somebody behind you that's helping you out. And I did, and it worked out well for our company.
Well, and kind of on that, I think it's great what your dad said. If we go back to that a little bit, where he said, you love being a carpenter, you gotta love being a contractor, because there's so many. And this is episode 94, and we get the background on everybody kind of when we start, but there's so many that it's probably a good split of, and probably majority people come up to the business and want to go on their own, and they start on their own. And there's so many of those headaches and trials and tribulations and things that, the learning experiences on, but then there's also the side where we've got a number of people that we've talked to that knew nothing about construction or contracting, but knew everything about how to run a business, and they could do it that way. So there's definitely those two different ways to kind of go into it and two different ways to start. But I think it's that mindset that you have there that you said your dad kind of helped you to realize I think is one that's important for somebody who's come up through the business, who wants to start on their own, because there are a lot of headaches that are involved and a lot of paperwork and a lot of other things that you think are not a big deal when you're out in the field running it and thinking, I could just do this on my own. But there's definitely a lot there to it.
Yeah. I don't know how anybody does it without somebody behind them taking care of all of that stuff. So it worked out for us, and we're still going strong. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you guys doing? Is it mainly residential? Do you guys get into commercial framing at all, or?
We've done commercial, but only for clients that we've already built their homes, and then they buy a building, or they're renting something to their wife needs to sell clothes out of a storefront, so we'll go and do a remodel in commercial like that. But yeah, in Santa Barbara, it's mostly residential. It's mostly remodeled because land is hard to come by.
Right.
We've done 20 years worth of 5 or 6 jobs a year of remodels, and then we've done a few entire homes where we've gone onto property, demoed the whole houses, guest house, demoed a whole site, and then graded and started from scratch. Those are great. Yeah, they're all great, actually. Yeah. I love doing what we're doing.
Well, I was gonna say, I got to see on your website some of at least on the portfolio, some of those residents. I was initially attracted to the Ladera residents because I live in an area called Ladera, at least down here. But yeah. But that being said, just the craftsmanship, the work, the photography, and the presentation, at least of the work that's on the website, is incredible. Go ahead.
We'll give some credit to the photographer, but it's a pretty cool, very well built house.
Yeah, they look beautiful. Yeah. So, but that being said, and kind of hearing what you were talking about in terms of expectations of the guys that are working for you, how are you bringing those guys on when they're coming from, even from a labor standpoint? How are you finding them? What are you doing to ensure that you have good quality craftsmen that are coming in to do the work for you?
So, having lived in Santa Barbara as a carpenter contractor for 40 years, I've met, how many hundreds of craftsmen. And so when I'm looking for somebody, what I do is I in my Rolodex, it says, my phone, now I'm really dating myself.
What's a Rolodex? I know what a Rolodex is, but for all the 10-year-olds that listen to the show.
Yeah. So in my phone, I literally, everyone's prefaced by their trade. So when I'm looking for a floor guy, I type in floor, and I got 30 floor contractors in there. And in the same way, when I'm looking for contractors, carpenters, I'll punch in carpenter, and I'll get, there's 40 names in my phone, and I start calling the ones that I think would be a good fit for the job. And if they're not available, ask for recommendations. So Santa Barbara's a small area, Everyone's all been working around here. And when you ask someone in Santa Barbara, who have you worked for, to get references, you usually know the contractors that, that they've mentioned. It's a small town. So one of my guys has been with me for 25 years. He started with me with a company called Heimberg. He started with me when I was a superintendent. And then when I got my own license, Gabriel came with. So he's been with me for 25 years.
Wow.
Got another guy that's been with me for about 20. And then I pull from a group of people that I've either worked with or are recommended. And it's hit or miss. I've had some misses, but the quality is always there. So if it's a miss, you know it pretty early on, and you adjust.
Yeah, you pivot. Yep.
By adjust, I mean fire someone and hire someone. But one of the things about my company is first of all, you know this. Well, you're in insurance, so let me say this: it's easier to do something perfect than it is to wonder if that's going to fly. So in other words, I tell my guys, if you think it's going to fly,
easier on your heart too.
Yeah, if it's perfect, nobody can say that's not good enough.
Right.
If you do half-assed stuff, any client is going to come up and say that's not good enough, and that's the toughest thing. So we try to do things, and I say perfect, but perfect is the illusion
unattainable.
of perfection.
Yeah.
I tell the guys we're not really looking for perfection. We're looking for the illusion of perfection.
We're striving for perfection.
Yeah, striving for protection, but if something's off kilter or whatever, you scribe it, you make it look, you stand back, you make sure that all of your sight lines are right. There's always the illusion of perfection, which is what we strive for is perfect job. I when the guys are doing something and I look at something I'm not 100% certain I love it, I'll go home and I'll sleep on it. If I can sleep that night, it's good. If I can't sleep, I just come back the next day and say, take it out. My employees, their job is to help me sleep at night.
That's awesome. I love that.
I was going to say, it feels like if you have to have, and it sounds like you do, if you have to have a conversation about it in your head and figure out whether or not it's good enough, it's probably not good enough.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. No.
You have to justify. No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. So like I said, it's easier to do perfect than it is to, if a client says, we don't need perfect, we just want fast, we don't do the job. That's not for me. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
We do custom projects here in Santa Barbara that are, beautiful projects, beautiful people. And I take pride in that. And so do my guys, which is really important. There's a lot of great contractors here in Santa Barbara. They're all, their names. I hope to think that I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the work is out there. You just got to get yourself in that niche and get hired by the people that want that type of perfection. And I think that we're in that niche.
So on that, when you say that, or when you go in acting, or I guess on these remodel jobs, are you going in acting as a general contractor and hiring the sub? Because you guys are one of the first ones in there, right? Like when you're thinking about remodeling, it's aside from demo and tearing everything out, like you guys are going in first and reframing everything. It's not like the flooring guy who's going to come in last, right? Flooring guys don't act as generals most of the time because they don't have other things below them. But are you strictly doing the framing, or do you act as a GC?
Yeah, they're.
Oh no, I'm a general contractor.
Okay,
I'm a builder.
Cool.
Sometimes I recommend an architect. I recommend a designer. If not, we all figure it out. Or the architect comes to me, or a client has seen work that we've done and say, I want this guy to do it. We come in from demo.
Day one,
day one. We're demo to fencing to cleanup. The things
Very
that
cool.
we don't do. We do all our own framing, a lot of our own concrete if it's a small job. We sub out electrical, plumbing, HVAC, insulation, drywall. We usually do all our own finish carpentry. And then we sub out the paint. But I'm involved and in charge and am there from start to finish to final cleaning.
And how involved are you with the architect from a design process? Just because I know what you guys are doing is reality, right? Hands-on, boots on the ground. And I know sometimes we've talked to people and architects get a little bit out there with some of the things that they think can be done. Are you guys involved with the design process?
As much as the client and or architect wants me to be, yes.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know,
Yeah.
and what I preface it by is I say, I'm no designer, but I've seen everything.
Right.
So
Right.
I think I have good ideas, you know, and to be honest with you, a lot of the clients think I have good ideas.
Yeah.
I don't like to step on any architect's toes, of course,
Right.
and they
Right.
are the professional. They're the design professional. So I defer, you know, of course I defer to them but yeah, if anybody wants my input, I am not afraid to say it.
That's awesome. Well, like you said, I mean, you've seen it all, right? Like you've seen a lot. I mean, out there, it's nice to have that input.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing from a marketing standpoint? I know you said Santa Barbara's pretty small. How are you guys going after and getting your work?
Well, Mike and Brian are calling me to talk to me on air, and campaign. I don't do much. I don't do much in the way of advertising. My website, I love pointing people to the website. I think it speaks for itself.
Yep.
It's all word of mouth. We every once in a while a magazine will call us and say, "Well, you want to put a half page in or a page in?" And we do. But it's, you know, I rely on word of mouth. I'm not a very good marketer. I do know contractors and architects that are brilliant marketers, and they eventually go worldwide. I'm keeping it small, and I think the most amount of advertising I would want to do. Well, I love this. This is fantastic. I would like to get in the habit of calling a realtor or architect maybe once a week, going out for lunch, taking somebody to lunch once a week. I haven't yet. We've always been busy, so I don't think I've had to. I also don't want too much work where I can't be in charge of it because I'm a perfectionist. Right. And I'm also, you know, controlling and anal and everything else, all other words that you can think of. Which is why some of the clients appreciate.
I was going to say that's why they want you to be there. Yeah.
That's why they're hiring us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you definitely lose a little bit of that, especially if that's what you're known for and that's what people are saying, right? If that's how you're being referred into people is, you know, hey, Jed's going to be there. He's going to oversee this. He's going to have input. He's going to be right there on top of it. If you get beyond that from a means standpoint, you kind of lose a little bit of that credibility and the reason why people are referring you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need my fingers and everything. Now, that doesn't mean I only do one job at a time. We do well, depending on how big the jobs are, but we do probably up to about 3, I'd say would be the most I'd want to. 3 good-sized jobs.
Yeah.
You know, and by good-sized job, I'm talking about a full home remodel. And then a larger job would be a tear down, rebuild compound type home in Santa Barbara. So we do about 2 to 3 jobs at a time, and then we make all of my clients call me for anything. They call me for, you know, they run out of firewood. I have people bring firewood over there, stack it nicely. So we continue to have a relationship with, or I strive to have a relationship with all of my clients and continue that relationship.
Yeah,
I love it.
A little personal touch. Yeah, it's definitely nice in the business, you know, in this vertical and in this industry, because you don't really get that all too often.
Well, and no, you go.
Go ahead. All right. Well, that might be what I like so much about going from being a carpenter to a contractor.
Right. That relationship building. Yeah.
Relationship. Yeah. Now it's you know, I've told people that, what was I was saying to guys, I might think of it later, but it's a little thing that I've said before. You know, you rise yourself up in the industry. You start as a carpenter, you know, carpentry, and then eventually you got, you know, when you have more than 2 jobs or more than 2 jobs going, you can't really have bags on anymore. You take your bags off, you start telling everybody what to do, making sure material is there on time, and then eventually your company gets big enough that all you do is send emails to the architects, you know, and the owners, and be witty on the keyboard.
Any interest in working with developers and in doing some small developments or anything along those lines?
No, there's a difference between being a contractor or carpenter for the love of it and doing it to make money.
Yeah.
And no, No, I have no interest in that.
You're a craftsman.
I was going to say too much of a passion and an artist and a craftsman at that point. Yeah.
No,
like selling your soul, huh?
Yeah. Or actually, it's doing what you love for a different purpose.
Yeah.
And I don't. That is money's only part of the reason that I'm doing all of this. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I told a client once years ago. I said, I'd be doing this whether for free or anything. Getting paid is just a bonus. And about 6 months,
I was going to say that's not. I don't know that you should say that to somebody who's supposed to pay you.
That came back to haunt me.
Yeah.
That came back to haunt me.
You said you'd do it for free.
Aren't you liking it anymore, kid? Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, kind of along those lines, way back when, I guess in 2000, when you were making the jump to actually start your own contracting business, how was that transition? Did you already have like side projects that you were working on the side that were able to kind of fully flesh out to work that you had, starting the business? Was it kind of like, I'm not sure how we're going to get moving forward. Like, what was that transition process from working for somebody to working for yourself?
Okay. So the way I did it and the way I would recommend it is I had a full-time job, working for a contractor here in Santa Barbara. And then I worked almost every weekend and a lot of times after work, doing side jobs. And, like I said, I loved it so much. I can't do that now. I can't work as much as I used to work, but I loved it so much that I literally would work afternoons on projects, weekends on projects. If I had if somebody asked me to do something and I had a weekend open, I'd say, yes, I can do it. So, this is cool. Hold on a second. Here, let me let you get a bit of this.
Oh, all right.
No thanks. We're good. No. He came to empty the porta potty right there. On the job.
It happened on the job.
It happened on the job.
For all of our audio listeners, Jed just jumped out of the truck and telling the porta potty guy to go away.
No next detail. No next detail. No, got you. Not yet. Okay. Yeah, next week. Thank you.
That is awesome. I love
Where
that.
were we?
That's real life right there.
See what it takes to be a contractor?
Yeah, learn. You gotta learn to speak several languages.
Got to make these decisions like on the spot, man.
Yeah.
And that's why people hire me. So Brian, good question. For me, it was very easy. I did side jobs all the time. Mm-hmm. So I had a clientele. I had people calling me and recommending me to do things for people. And then at some point somebody said, Jed, I want you to do my remodel. And I said, well, all right, I gotta quit my employer and get my license, and then we'll do it. So that's what I did. Getting your license in California means going to school or getting your books or studying and doing it. And it was easy. There's law and there's construction, and I think that everybody's really good at the construction because you've been doing it, and you have a passion for it, and you're looking forward to becoming a contractor. And then the law portion, you learn, you figure it out, and you go and take your test. Now, you were saying that there's some people who start out it from a business side who don't know anything about building. They would be the direct opposite of that. They'd be good at the law side already, and then have to learn the construction side.
Yep.
So had clients, and like I said, somebody said, build my remodel. And I said, okay. So I took about 6 months to get my license. You study for 6 months, grab your test date, and then quit my employer, told my employer that I'm quitting in a month, and that was all good. And then went right into it. And then, okay, so went right into it. So for me, getting the work was easy. That it was basically, I already had a name for myself.
Yeah, your reputation was out there, and
the word of mouth was going. Okay, and again, I was in the niche. I was in the niche here in Santa Barbara. So then as far as how to do it, that's all a learning experience. I never had anybody working in my company that had worked in a construction company, on the business side of it. So I made everything up as I went along. We designed our contracts.
Fake it till you make it.
I got it. Yeah. And be honest and trustworthy, and then you're golden.
Yep.
Golden. So we found a couple contracts. I literally went through the contracts, picked and chose what I wanted in my contract. We built a contract, then gave it to a lawyer, and they said, "This is all wacky. Change this whole thing." And so we've gone through a few different contracts. They change often because of laws change often. But we have developed we've developed a coding system that starts with it's line items starting with plans, permits, and fees. And I have one right here. I might show you, even though it's proprietary. I'm going to show you really quick so you can't really
inside information.
Yeah. So we developed our own line item list. Now there's probably 200 items on our line item list that have come from every time we needed something for a job, and that might have been a dumbwaiter, and another one would be elevator, and another one would be framing.
Yeah.
So and we did it in an order of the tasks in the order that it goes. So when I'm pricing a project, I'll pull out my item list. I'll read the plans, open my line item list, and underline each one that pertains to that job. So I'm coming from a list of 200 and whittling it down to maybe 50 items. Those items, and they're in the order in which they usually occur. So it's a way of me. I didn't forget the porta potty because it's way up here at number 1020.
Yeah.
Porta potty. Yeah, porta potty. So it helps me to price things, and then of course I take that and I send the plans. I decide who I think would be the best subs for the job, 2 or 3 per job. Send them the plans, and then that's how I do it. And then when we bill off of this estimate also. So when you're billing, basically it's going to go 100% from the top down. We might be 100% done with grading, framing, and concrete, and then we're getting into plumbing, electrical, and we're only 50% done with that. But it's a good way for the clients to see what's happening next.
The progression too, yeah. Kind of gives a playbook, yeah.
Playbook with the cost value attached,
yeah.
And it works for me. And then after I developed this whole system, an architect told me I had to price in the there's a whole nother system, and I can't remember the name of it that architects use. It's all a numbered system, but it doesn't go in the right order. So there's conveyance systems, there's wood products, there's plastic products, there's glass products. And so I made this whole thing up thinking I was so smart, yet there was already something out there similar.
But now you have it the Jed way.
Order, though.
Yeah, now you have it the Jed way. Yeah.
I like it. It works for me.
Well, and I feel like, kind of going back to what we're talking about, I feel like when you come, when you're being referred to either a new client or a repeat customer, right? And you're able to show them, hey, look, this is what to expect, and here's what it's going to cost. You know what I mean? And there's not going to be a billion change orders unless you want them to be changed, right? Yeah. It provides that transparency that they can say, and the authenticity to say, hey, I know he's got a past because all these people have referred him to us, and this is why we're going to use him, because we know that what we're going to spend, right? And we know we can trust him because he'll get it done, because if it's not done the right way, you're going to go back, rip it out, and get it done.
That's exactly right. So I just went to an interview in Los Olivos, and that's why I have this with me. It's actually a sample of a job that we already did with the billing along with it. But yeah, I took this with me and I said, here's how we do it. Here's our billing is attached to the estimate. So it goes line item to line item, the percentage of what you've paid for each line item. And yeah, it's a good tool. It's a good tool to show people. And when we bill, the billing packet comes with my invoice, which is a written schedule of all the backup that comes with it. Mm-hmm. So we include all of our subcontractors' invoices, our materials invoices, and my guy's timesheets. Oh, somebody else walking around back there. He wants to be on TV too, I guess. He wants to be on TV.
Well, I think that's great too. Like from a transparency standpoint, like we mentioned, you're not the guy just saying, oh, you want that remodel? It's going to be $45,000. And there, you know what I mean? There's a, like I said, a level of transparency there so that they know exactly what the breakdown is of everything and can see that you're not just pulling a number out of the air. You actually got something to back that up.
Yeah, I think you were in on that conversation. Maybe I heard a friend was telling us, they're working on a remodel, and he said, yeah, the guy came and gave me an estimate. It was like $15,000. And then a couple weeks later, I got another bill for like $60,000. And it wasn't anything that was part of that initial estimate. It created a whole big hubbub. The general contractor ended up getting fired from the project. And, kind of going back to what I said a second ago, what we're talking about right now, it's that level of transparency. If you could be honest and tell what people, what things are going to cost, I feel like the turnaround is so much better. Right. And it provides a level of, I don't know, I can't even think of the word, but basically you're presenting yourself not just for now in the moment, but you're creating a portfolio of not just the work you're doing, but the work that you're providing in terms of the honesty. And they know that they can hire you, they can trust you, they're always going to bring you back. They're going to bring you back for those commercial tenant improvements when they need something, even though that's not your number one thing, but they know that they can trust you. They're not going to be ordered to death, so. Right.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients I've had for, I can think of one client in my mind that I've been doing work for 20 years, 25 years actually.
Jeez.
First house was a house on Miramar Beach, and then a guest house on the house on Miramar Beach, and then they bought more property, and we did a compound up I did some work for them in LA. These are clients who you get started with them, they trust you, and at some point they might even say, Jed, just do it,
Yeah.
And of course, we all love those clients.
Yeah.
And depending on who it is or what it is, sometimes someone might need a tight bid. Some people might just say, hey, Jed, we know you. We work with you, and this is what we want. Just do it. And it's all fair,
Yeah.
And again, the billing comes with all the backup and everything. So it's all on the up and up.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like for you guys? Are you planning to grow at all, or grow outside of Santa Barbara? I know you like to kind of keep control of what you got there, but what's the future 5, 8, 10 years look like for you?
No, I'm not going to create a company that I won't have my hands in every project. I can't do that.
Yep.
In fact, we've been offered jobs in Malibu. And if I had nothing going on in Santa Barbara, yes, I would go to Malibu, and I would actually bring my camping trailer there, and I'd hang there and, be on the job.
Yep.
But the thing is that in Santa Barbara, I know all of my subs. My subs know what I expect of them, and I know what I can expect from them. And there's a reputation, there's a familiation, and it's just, I know who to call here in Santa Barbara. If I started a job in Malibu, I'd have to learn subs. It'd be, again, a whole nother hit and miss learning curve that if I don't have to, I'm going to stick here in Santa Barbara.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a succession plan? You plan on doing this for a while, or what's the?
Oh yeah.
Write it out.
60.
Yeah.
I love that.
I figure. I'll probably. I'm guessing another 15 or 20.
Okay.
I love that.
We go out of Santa Barbara. We like I said, I just had an appointment in Los Olivos. We had a project in Los Alamos that we just finished up, and it's mostly right here in Santa Barbara. To there's enough work. We're picking up a few things right now. So I mean, I see a crew. I think ideally I'd like to have a crew, an office staff, and a crew of 15, and have 2 to 3 jobs going at a time. That's what I would like.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is the supervisor. Basically, I come to the job. I mean, I don't want to sound like a general, but I like to tell them, here's what I want you to do, da, 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 and they're perfectly capable of doing what I ask them to do, and for them to telling the subs to do it how I ask them to do. And then I go to the next job, do the same thing, and then rotate around like that. That's how I'd like to eventually have not more than 3 jobs at a time, a good superintendent on each one. And my job would be to use my thinking cap, tell my superintendent just gets it done. That would be my ideal long-term company.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Awesome. Well, before we let you go, we want to make sure we give you an opportunity to let the people know where to find you. Let them point them to that beautiful website or how they get a hold of you, or
All right.
especially those people in Santa Barbara, obviously, right?
Oh yeah. So yeah, get a hold of me. The best way is jedhirsch.com. And I guess if you call me, I'll give you a pen.
I see the pen. Looks good. It's one of those multicolored pens.
Multicolored.
Yeah.
Wow.
You need one of these. Yeah, I think the best thing at this point, being on the air, I mean, I could tell you my phone numbers, but the easiest thing is just go to jedhirsch.com.
Perfect.
JEDHIRSCH.com. You'll see the work that we do, the pride that we do with it. We do it with, and then the contact information is in there and all that.
Very cool, man.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jed, for coming on today. We really appreciate having you. You're a ball of energy, man. And
I love it.
I love every bit of it.
All right, Mike and Brian.
Well, Mark and Brian works too. Yeah.
Go back to KLOS.
Yeah. Right.
No, good talking to you both. Good talking.
All right. Great.
Thanks so much.
You too.
Good luck and congratulations on your podcast. I think this is
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
For fun and everything. Okay,
Keep
guys.
in touch, man. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.